Warning, this podcast, website, and associated social media accounts are intended for audiences of legal drinking age. We do not advocate overconsumption or the abuse of alcohol. Never drink and drive, drink responsibly. And please remember to always take what we say with a grain of salt. After all, we are just some dudes with some brews.
We started out by crawling out from under the thumb of the man. The lovers of God with dad bods, just trying to feed our fam. Go sit right there and grab a beer, you know just what to do. Throw it back, get hammered, and listen to Dudes and Brews.
I think that was about the same year that they did like a what's that festival that Korn used to do? The Family Values.
Family Values.
Wasn't like the '99 like a really big one?
I think I went to Family
I
Values
just remember
tour.
owning the album
99.
and it had like a giant crying baby on it.
Yeah, they did make an album because it had who all did it have on it? It had another band that I forgot about until right now. I've just now forgot again.
Oh, it is '99.
Yeah, look at the bands on it. I'm interested in what the bands are.
Some Les Claypool, some.
Where's the band names? Oh yeah, on
Aaron
the right
Lewis.
side. Yeah, Crystal Method was there. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Stained, Primus. There was another one. Maybe it was.
Oh yeah, this is the one where they did Outside and Fred Durst was on there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That acoustic version.
Right. I mean, I used to jam
Yeah.
to that stuff hard.
I went to the Family Values whenever they had that Japanese band.
Huh? Like
During Gray.
During Gray.
Yeah,
oh,
During
I never
Gray.
liked.
And I
those
remember
guys.
there's tons of Japanese people there, and
Like,
I've never heard of this band. And they're
it's a
like,
different kind of
"During
metal."
Gray, During Gray!" And I'm like, where'd all these Japanese people come from? They had a paintball course set up there, but it was like
Yeah.
not real paintballs. It was like styrofoam paintballs, but real paintball guns.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It was wild.
Yeah, just keep the mic about a fist from your face. You move it however you need to.
Okay,
Adjust it.
cool.
I'll turn you up here if I need to, but you seem fine.
Turn my headphones up.
See, that makes me think of that Eminem. There ain't no bass in my headphones.
Yeah, that's
I ain't
what
got no
I was
bass in my
thinking of.
headphones.
That's what I was thinking of. Maybe this coffee will get my brain going because I'm like keep not remembering references.
Yeah, okay,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you know that they were there. They were at that show. They were good.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, got Jonathan Gentry with us today from CJ's Coffee. So I appreciate you coming on the show with us, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. But you brought a bunch of stuff today, and you poured us something. I know Larry already went ham on it. What'd you pour us?
I went ham.
Right now, I poured a little Thailand coffee, or some coffee from Thailand. It's a natural process. So,
Okay.
but
Pull this-
yeah,
pull this
yeah,
up to your face
Just
here.
a nice light roast, kind of more of your fruity coffee.
Okay.
When you say
Nice.
natural process, what does that mean?
So essentially, the natural process is the way they process it at the farm. They will they'll pull the cherry off the tree, and then they leave the cherry like out on raised beds for it to like ferment.
Okay.
And during like that process, when it's sitting out in the sun, it's rotting. It kind of stinks a little bit during the fermentation, but that coffee bean is soaking up all those extra sugars. And then after a certain amount of time, then they pull the coffee bean out and wash it.
Nice.
And then dry it off. So it has a little bit more sugars to it. You're going to have a little bit more fruity notes to your natural processed coffee, if that
Nice.
makes sense. So
Yeah,
you
makes
can do like a natural processed almost anywhere you have like a lot of sun, anywhere where you have like a lot of sun, not a lot of rain, things like that.
Okay.
But
Nice.
Thailand. What's up?
Anywhere there's not a lot of birds, because the birds will come swoop in and get it.
yeah,
Just a general observation.
And what's cool is like in Africa is like where coffee originated, and coffee is still grown in Africa like wildly.
Yeah.
And it's even farmed wildly still. Everywhere else in the world, it's actually like farmed in rows, like crops and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty
That's
wild.
cool.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
So, got to start here. So, how did you get into the coffee business? Like, how does one start doing that?
Essentially, when I was living down in Houston in 2009, 2010, I started selling like instant coffee through this little company, and I started just doing a lot of research on the coffee market, and the coffee market was still just starting to take off. Starbucks was already huge, but then you started seeing a lot of other big corporate players trying to get into the coffee game. McDonald's changed like McCafe, Dunkin' Donuts changed their logo from a donut to like a coffee cup. And then Subway started staying open 24 hours and we serve coffee, you know, and then they started adding breakfast items to the menu and so you could just kind of see all these weird little signs coming up, and then that's when that's kind of what sparked my curiosity. Then when we started roasting it, that's really what just kind of got me excited about it.
So how does that roasting process work? Like, is it just like do you have like a certain machine? Do you just throw it over fire? How does it work?
Essentially, it's like you're heating it up. There's a lot of different ways to roast coffee, but to keep it simple and in a nutshell, you're just heating it up. You're baking it. You're baking it for a certain amount of time. You want to rise the heat. You don't want to cook it too fast. You don't want to cook it too long. You want to reach a certain temperature by a certain amount of time. Then you want to pull it and cool it down as fast as possible. If you start baking it like 20 minutes, if it's taking you 20 minutes long to roast, you'll start getting a lot of bread notes in your coffee. If it's like a 5-minute roast, you get to your temperature within 5 minutes, then everything's just going to be super acidic, underdeveloped.
Oh, so it's like a
So what makes Starbucks coffee taste burnt? You know how everybody always says Starbucks tastes burnt. What causes the burn taste?
Essentially, that is like that's their style. That's their Seattle roast, Seattle style. That's kind of what has been their foundation. And really, they just do a dark roast on everything. So like normally you would do like a medium roast around 420 degrees. For a drum roaster, it's around 420 degrees. And your dark roast is like 430 or 440. So they're just taking the beans a lot harder, really extracting all those metals, all that like organic matter essentially.
I like how you're saying like Seattle style coffee.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, it's like beer nowadays, like with IPAs. You get West Coast and you get New England style. So are there different like regional coffee like roasting styles?
In North America, Seattle's kind of the only one, really. And honestly, it's just like there really could be for North America, but it's still kind of a young, like coffee is still kind of a young like market because of the way it's been popularized by scub rats is what I always like to call it. But by the way it's been popularized, it's really confused a lot of people for like traditional European coffee versus your lattes and stuff you might order here.
Oh, so you're saying that we screw it up here in America by putting too much sugar in it? Like we do everything.
We push everything, sugar and everything.
Yeah, everything.
Do you call them scud rats?
Scub rats, actually. Yeah. I always say scub rats because it's just backwards.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I've never heard that particular terminology. So, so do you have like a certain supplier where you get all your beans? Do you do it from, like, does it come from different locations? Obviously, you said something about Thailand. I know you said something about Colombia.
So essentially, I work with a couple of brokers and then a couple of friends that I've met through different conferences that I'll buy certain origins from. Ben Weiner out of Golden Mountain, he has a bunch of coffee farms in Nicaragua. I get really good Nicaraguan coffee from him. I have a friend, Nelson Teskey. He's up in Vancouver, Canada, and I buy some coffee from him. He does like 1 million pounds of coffee every calendar year. And he gets some really good special stuff. And then just another broker in North Carolina that we buy coffee from. So we go through about 240 to 260 pounds of coffee every week.
Jeez.
So usually, and that's just like our espresso. And so usually we'll get about 10 bags of 150 pounds a bag. Usually we'll go through about 10 bags every like 6 weeks or so.
Oh, geez.
So
nice.
And you hand roast everything, right? Like you do it yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a drum roaster for our espresso, and then some of our specialty roasts, and then we have a smaller roaster that we do all of our bag coffee with that we sell on the retail shelf. And so it's an air roaster, and that's kind of the first roaster I started on.
Oh, cool.
So for the first 3 years, I was like roasting on the air roaster, and then going from that to a drum roaster just took a lot more like studying and reading up and asking a lot of friends for different advice because the temperatures are a little different. But overall, it's been really exciting. We started on Main Street I started on Main Street in 2010.
Main Street Denison?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On Main Street in Denison. So I started in there. We had like a staff of 5, and my first job was the baker. So I pretty much got there at 3 a.m., clocked out at 11 a.m., made all the bread, the pastries, the soups, prepped all the items, the chicken salad, tuna salad, vegetables, whatnot. And
I didn't realize you had a full-fledged kitchen in there.
Oh yeah. Okay. We literally,
that place is a little smaller than the other two.
Yeah. In our downtown Main Street and our downtown Travis Street location, we bake all of our own bread and pastries every single day. So, and actually, that was kind of like really fun because I had never baked before, and it was really like baking is so intense. It's really easy to mess up, and it's not like grilling a steak. You can look at it, cut it, throw it back on. You know what I mean?
There's reality competition shows for it, like
just for
dime
baking?
a dozen.
Oh my gosh, the British baking show.
Yes,
we love that.
We watch it because we're always like, what are they making?
Right.
And I honestly don't want to eat any of it, but my wife does.
Yeah.
All the British stuff.
And then after 5 years being there downtown, I bought a coffee truck. Had a coffee truck for 2 years, and then sold that when I opened the Sherman store.
Oh, okay.
And then 4 years later, we opened the store out by the highway.
Okay.
So that's kind of like our where we've been from there to here.
So you're coming on 10 years here then soon.
11, yeah.
11 years. Oh, so you just did your 10 years. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and about to hit 12.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So help me understand how it went from baking pastries to now you have like another kitchen on the other location, right? Or is that a different business, or is that you still own that one, the Lettuce Indulge?
We partnered up with Lettuce Indulge.
Okay.
So they still bake all of our bread, they bake all the pastries, they make everything from scratch.
Uh-huh.
But everything, we have maybe like 6 classic CJ's menu items.
Oh, okay.
And then everything else is like CJ's I'm sorry, Lettuce Indulge, Farm to Table, the zucchinis, the salmon, the Wagyu steak, the Farmer's Basket. It's just really great being able to partner up with them because I always wanted to go farm to table, but I just was diving so head deep into coffee and just really enjoying roasting coffee and then also training all the staff. Because right now we have about 54 people on staff. And so just training with the baristas, I really just had to leverage it out a little bit. So
like if our main thing is coffee, we got to make sure coffee's done right. So we got to train everybody right. I get that.
And they had all the sources. They are an aquaponics farm. They had their own food truck. So it was like,
oh, what's up?
It was
Nice.
perfect.
Dang, that's legit. So at that little location off the highway, there's that giant like brass machine that's in the corner. Is that a roaster?
Yeah. Yep.
And is that one that gets used all the time?
Yeah.
Oh,
every
cool.
that
So
dude
it's not just for looks?
It looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It does look beautiful.
Oh man,
yeah.
I got to decorate it up, dust it off.
Yeah.
But no. Sunday I like tear that thing apart, and that's when we'll do 260 pounds about every Sunday.
Oh wow.
So that's what you're doing on Sundays.
Yeah. That heating that bad boy
I
up.
bet it smells good in there on Sundays.
Oh man,
Dude, I can only imagine.
Does it smell stronger than it does on a normal day, like when you're roasting it?
No, it just smells a little bit like slightly baked bread in the air. It kind of has a bakery, almost kind of burnt caramel kind of smell in the air.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because when the coffee's going through its phases, it's when it starts drying out, because the coffee bean is essentially like rice. It's just holding a bunch of moisture. It just has all this moisture in it, all this organic matter in it. And when it starts to slowly dry out, it smells a little bit like hay. You kind of get this slight smell of hay that you're pulling out of the dryer. And then once it starts to get up to the temperature of the roaster and it starts to cook a little bit more, then it actually starts to bake, and you get these light like bread notes out of it. And then that's when the Maillard reaction's happening. It starts to caramelize. It turns from this tan to caramel to black, and then at 385 degrees it starts like crackling and popping, and that's what you would call first crack.
Oh, nice.
And then after your first crack, you have this development stage, and you want to try to slow it down a little bit and let the coffee develop after the first crack. And then right when you hit your desired temperature, you're just pulling it out and cooling it down as fast as possible.
Wow.
So cooling
This
it
is
down,
crazy.
like, do you don't throw it into like an ice bath or something, do you? What do you do to cool it
It's
down?
a big like $5,000 fan.
Oh, really?
Just
Okay.
sucks the life
sucks
out
the-
of it.
okay.
Oh yeah, you can't hear anything. You turn that fan on, it's like sucking it out. It's just like it's
Okay.
deafening, but it's doing its job.
Wow.
Nice.
But yeah, it's really interesting just being able to roast coffee and cup it, see how it tastes, and then roast it again next Sunday and cup it again and roast it and cup it. And this past year, we've already done 560 roasts on that machine.
Like year to date already?
Mm-hmm,
Oh, dang.
Year to date.
Dang. So so it sounds like you try a bunch of different like roasting times and things to see what you like. And,
Well, right now I've already kind of honed in like a good recipe.
yeah.
But yeah, when I'm trying something new, I'll like try it at this temperature, try it at that temperature, cup it, wait 2 days, cup it again, wait 2 days, cup it again. Because
Okay.
when it starts to degas, you'll start to just really get different flavors out of it. Make sure it's like well-rounded. If it dries your mouth out, you really don't want to sell that coffee, you know? You might have baked it a little too long. You want like it to coat your mouth and leave like a nice like a wet feeling. If you ever
Wow.
drink coffee and it dries your mouth out,
Yeah.
it's usually more like of a dark roast, or it's just like over extracted.
All right, so I need to sit down and have another cup of coffee with you so that I can really
Right.
know what I'm supposed to be tasting.
Yeah,
Because I
so-
don't think that I've really done anything right ever.
So let's start with like just the small like Thailand, and I'll just do like a small sip of that.
Yeah, okay.
You want another one of
Oh,
those?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Cool.
Because
That's
I don't
good.
feel like I've. So we figured this out by drinking beer. That like I'll taste something and my mind will think it is what it is, and then
Mhm.
once somebody tells me what it is, I go, oh yeah, I taste all that now.
Nice.
So I'm like, what am I supposed to be tasting out of this?
Yeah,
This
so that he can sound
is
like
going to
he
be
knows.
like lighter and a little bit more fruity. This is that natural process
Oh, okay,
from Thailand.
okay. Yeah, because you've done this in the cold brew before, haven't you?
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes a real fun cold brew. And then right after that, we'll have like this meat. We'll give you a little splash of this medium roast Colombian. That way you can kind of get like a taste or a little feel.
Let me get a
for-
little Colombian splash here.
Yeah, I feel like I do get a little like I guess you would call it fruity notes. I don't know.
Yeah.
And this Colombian is what you normally do the cold brew like traditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is what I get all the time.
And then what am I supposed to be getting from this one that I didn't get from the last one? Like not the fruit, but
Just feel like tell me what you feel about it.
Okay.
From the compared to the first one, because I think you'll feel it out pretty quick.
okay.
Because
Well,
this
I
is
wanna
a
let the
meat.
first one settle a little bit.
Yeah. Because this is a medium roast.
yeah, because I like hardly didn't get any bitterness out of that other one, and that's one thing that I usually
So the
try
first
to
one was
offset is some of the bitterness of coffee. So
Yeah, and that's like really what's nice about the natural process.
Mhm.
We roast it real light. We end it around 400 degrees, around that ballpark. So that way we literally preserve a lot of those sugars that are already in it.
oh, awesome.
And then this one is a medium roast, so this is going to be more around 420 degrees. So the first one was at 400. This one's at 420. We're wanting to pull out a little bit more body. We're wanting it to have a little bit more of. We don't want it to be fruity. We
Yeah.
want to kind of have
Yeah.
a more of a body, more of that coffee taste.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I see what you mean. This does coat your mouth a little bit differently than the other one did. I don't know if I'm just making that up or
No,
I'm
you-
salivating. Or
Yeah,
what
it
it
makes
is.
you sound. It's so good. It's really good.
No, it is hella good.
Yeah, makes you wonder like why does anybody put any cream in your coffee when it tastes like this? This is so good.
Dude, I mean, I usually just add a little bit of sugar. I know that you're a cream guy, right?
I usually just add cream. That's all.
Yeah.
But
And then this one is
it
like
doesn't even need sugar or anything, and that's why I drink that when I get their cold brew, which is this Colombian one. I just drink it straight. That's what I brought camping with us last. Don't know if you drink it out there, but it's good, just straight.
no, I think because I like hot coffee, especially when I'm trying to wake up. I like cold coffee like midday,
Oh, really?
afternoon. Yeah, but when I'm trying to wake up, there's something about that. It's like a mental thing where I just want to drink hot over
Yeah.
and over, and I'll go through like a whole pot.
And see, and that's what I would say is probably the average American just drinks quantity over quality. That's why you said that they just, I mean, just go ahead and say it. They screw it up by adding all the other crap to it.
Yeah, I'm just a basic American, is what you're saying.
Basically, yep, basic American.
And I think there's definitely still like waves of coffee education,
Yeah.
and you can start to see people kind of like figuring things out or learning different things, you know, because really it's just like to each his own. You know, if people
Yeah.
like the tobacco flavors, this is like your tobacco spectrum
Yeah, I was gonna say.
of the flavor wheel. This dark roast Sumatra is going to have a lot of body. It's going to have a lot of bite. It's going to be something
Yeah.
that most people
This is
like
what I
want to
normally
wake
drink.
up to.
I normally
Yeah.
drink like the darker roast.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is it Sumatra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've just never said it out loud. I either get like the Columbia or a Sumatra. Like those are the two darkest, or the black roast. Like if you're gonna go for like at, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it out loud. I don't want to offend you.
No.
Folgers. You want to go Folgers? You know, I'm at
Yeah.
I'm at Walmart. I'm getting some Folgers.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, do you have a coffee at like your at like Walmart, any marketplace around
No,
here?
not at any box stores.
Okay, so then I
No.
can't offend you because I can
No,
be like, I
not
would
at
have
all.
gotten the CJ's, but it wasn't here.
No, we just right now it's just so simple. We've just been doing so good out of our stores.
Yeah.
We really don't need the extra hassle of getting into box retail stores. And when you start talking to box retail stores and people that have gone that route, it's pretty brutal. They'll usually have you price it at a certain point. They want it to look a certain way. It's got to be a certain size to fit on the shelf.
Okay,
So usually
yeah.
you got to jazz your product up to fit on their shelf.
Right.
And then if your product sells really well, they're going to put like great value right next to it, like 2 cents cheaper than yours. You know what I mean? They'll
Yeah.
Oh,
have
I
so
got you.
then it's just like you'll see that all the time. You'll
Yeah.
have mustard, then you'll have 2 cents cheaper
Right.
mustard.
Right.
And
No, I have noticed you're like, now that I think about it, it does seem like they do the same size bags, and you usually do like pretty large bags of coffee. Like your bags are typically a little bit bigger.
we found a really good response to like just 1 pound bags. You know,
is that
people
what
just
they
want
are?
like
Okay.
people just want like a nice 1 pound bag. And then we also do like our specialty coffees. Like this Thailand is super special. I feel really great and lucky for just having it and having that relationship. But so we sell that in like smaller bags because it's not for people who are just gonna like throw it into a coffee pot. It's really for people who are gonna make an AeroPress or make a pour over.
Yeah.
You know, kind of do like 30 grams, weigh out 30 grams for their cup of coffee because your 250 gram bag you can make like 15
Right.
cups out of essentially.
Nice.
And $20 is kind of like is where it kind of like is what I really kind of like to keep it at, really, because
Okay.
it's like paying fair prices for the farmer is really what this kind of all comes down to. And it's really what my biggest passion is, like educating people on how hard it is to farm. So that way they can be like, I'll pay an extra $1 or I'll pay that extra 2 cents
Yeah.
because of it. It really is a tough market. And there's a lot of companies out there that buy really cheap coffee and the farmer's just selling it just to sell it because of the situation he's in. Maybe he doesn't have a bunch of brokers. Maybe this is the one guy that he knows.
Yeah.
But he, at the same time, he's not even able to afford to live or afford to eat.
Yeah.
And so we're really cautious about the coffee we buy is really going towards infrastructure like plumbing, electricity, even like basic things, because electricity is not even possible for a lot of these farms in the mountains. So it's just educational tools, and plumbing is huge.
Yeah.
Teaching kids to like brush their teeth every day and where to use the bathroom,
Yeah.
like simple educational things is like, and then it's really cool to be able to provide like a living wage for like a family who's really just trying to make it, and
Yeah.
and that's their one industry.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
like
that's
I never
awesome.
thought about like where it comes from and like the living situation that those in particular people are in, because I have heard that. I think you've talked about it
Yeah, I
before.
think there's only like 5 places in the world that it can grow, right? Like 5 general areas on the map.
You could break it down into 5 sections, but
Yeah.
essentially it's anywhere across the equator.
The equator.
The
Okay.
equa-
But it has to also be in a mountain, right?
It can be low altitude.
Okay.
A lot of coffee is high altitude because most of Africa is high altitude. But you have like your Pacific Rim, you have your Central America, you have your
Is this
bean
is,
belt.
is this accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just right across the equator.
Okay, so it's kind of they got kind of got like 8 hot spots.
Yeah.
But when you look at these spots, these are very povertous areas.
Oh
so
yeah.
you're right, and then rich people come in and take advantage of people too. So that's awesome.
That and like it's like when you have that connection and you're able to buy from the same person like year after year, you really start to just like it really feels
you like
good.
develop a
you know?
relationship
Awesome.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You have a consistent product. You know they're doing it right, and that's the most important part essentially.
So like during the, and I feel terrible about saying this because I should have done this beforehand, but during the pandemic, I was I started going, hey, I need to support local businesses a lot more. So I've been supporting you guys like all out, but it does help me, or it makes me feel good that it's not just about making money. You care about the little guy, like where it comes from. You care about helping them, not just putting money in your pocket.
Yeah. I could buy coffee easy $1.50, $2 a pound, but I just don't.
Right.
You want to pay anywhere above $2.60 a pound in order for it to be called equity or fair trade,
gotcha.
essentially.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that's awesome.
And then scheduling a trip to go to Colombia. I know I've met and got to hang out with a really cool guy whose family is like a 3rd generational farmer in Colombia. And so I'm planning a trip to go visit him and his family and his grandparents. And he's like, once you visit the coffee farm, he goes, your coffee will taste better.
Yeah. Like you get it from the source. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Putting jobs and really putting money back into the market that's going to like feed back to you. I really, really strongly believe that like life only gives as to what gives back to life. So if our business isn't giving any life, we're not going to continue to grow.
Oh, I got you. Man, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That is so cool. So, man, I just really appreciate the education.
Mm-hmm.
This has been super enlightening.
And coffee was great. And I gotta say, I'm not tasting dry mouth.
No, it's good. I'm not getting it either. It's good.
Mm.
I do feel like that medium roast coated my mouth differently than the others did. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, that medium roast is like right in but the dark roast, I feel like it will like it does kind of like dry it out, but it's different between
dried it out slightly.
Yeah.
But I'm not like cottonmouth over here, so I'm good.
heck yeah, right on.
Man,
We'll be bouncing off the wall in a second.
right. I'm glad you gave me sips, man. I can't do
Yeah.
too much coffee. Like for real, it's really just caffeine. Caffeine gives me too much of it, and I get the jitters, and I start getting like caffeine high.
Oh, man.
Like
I would love it by the end of the episode we see Joe sweating over there.
like dude. So like I used
Breaking out
to,
a hive.
whenever I lived in McKinney, I would make 2 cups of coffee, one for the road, and then one for when I got to work. And like literally, I'd be jittery, and I feel like I'd lightheaded, and feel like everything was like I almost felt high. It was weird.
And
And
really,
then I stopped drinking 2 cups and went to just 1 cup, and I've been great.
yeah, and really caffeine affects everyone so differently, I've found. And I always like to tell people, like, if you wake up in the morning and you have a headache, you should drink water. You know, start off with water, like, get your body hydrated, and then enjoy coffee. You know what I mean? I always like to drink my coffee like in the afternoons. I'll drink like juices and water in the morning, and then the afternoon pick me up around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., where I'm just kind of like, ooh, that's usually where I'm like making coffee, kind of getting through the rest of my day. And so
that's not a bad idea, actually.
But
because it's that after lunch kind of like drogginess, and I'm like, is it because I ate too much for lunch, or is it because I no longer have caffeine or whatever it is? So I wonder if that's something that I should start doing.
Yeah,
man. So because you are the coffee guy, I thought we would try a couple of coffee stouts if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to grab one out, Larry?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't matter.
Bumping elbows.
Whichever one.
Coffee stout.
Yeah.
We should have cut some coffee in it.
Right.
Have you ever done that? Like, put a little bit of coffee in a beer?
I have actually.
It
I've done.
sounds like it'd be good with the stout.
You get like a really citrusy IPA,
Uh-huh.
and you get like a hot shot of espresso.
Yeah.
You throw it in there, and it really tastes like a stout. Like it still tastes like a beer, which really bugged me. I'm like, I don't taste the coffee in this, but it just really tastes like a stout. It's
Right.
so
Nice.
interesting. It's like,
So I know that you guys have done like collaborations with 903 before in the past.
yeah.
What coffee did you give them?
I gave them. I did the Colombian, just kind of
The
what we
medium
did
roast?
with our cold
Do you
brew.
mind pouring it up for me?
No, not at all. But yeah, I did like
Yeah, that looks good.
I did like a Colombian for them.
Which is the medium roast. Okay.
We did that one as a medium roast.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what was the collab? Like, what was the beer that y'all made?
The birth. It was like they ended up doing like a cake.
Okay.
I thought
think
they did
something
like
like
a
a
Coffee
coffee.
cream ale too.
I think it was their like latte cream ale or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It was been a minute ago.
Because I need to yell at Jeremy because I don't think they
For
collab
sure,
with you anymore.
for sure. Oh
You
no,
bastard.
I think
No, I'm just messing.
really, it's just like coffee is so tough and the demand is so different.
Right.
I just feel like, he had a good recipe that worked for him.
Right.
And then we
Right.
definitely like did something fun. It was around the same time when he was doing the Mom's Bakery
Right.
brew
See, I wanna say it
and
was
all
like a latte
this
something.
and that. Yeah. And so he was just doing different businesses
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, he was doing a bunch of local businesses
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's good stuff for sure.
So this is the Java the Hut Stout, an
Nice.
imperial rye stout aged on coffee beans.
This one smells like it's gonna have a high alcohol.
Says
Is it
12.6%.
12%? I can
From a
smell that.
brewery far, far away comes the Java the Hut, an imperial coffee stout with massive body and bounty of flavors. This mighty Java stout boasts an audacious dosing of Sumatra coffee beans. Am I
Okay.
saying that right?
Mm.
Atop a chocolate rye malt base, giving the brew forward notes of earthy, fruity coffee roast layered with rich chocolate dimensions. If you enjoy brews on the dark side, Java the Hut will not disappoint. That was a mouthful. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was a mouthful.
That was.
Definitely getting like the body, not really getting the fruit, but it's definitely like sweet at the front,
Yeah.
and then body and thick. I love how like thick it is. It really sits on the tongue real heavy, and you can almost get like the coffee and like an aftertaste. It's nice.
This is good.
Yeah.
It is good.
The coffee is not, it's not as forward as I thought it was going to be
Mm-mm.
up front.
Yeah, it's really kind of sweet forward, and then the after, you kind of taste it on your breath
Right. So what you need to do
as you
here,
exhale.
I'm going to be a real nerd since you're a nerd on coffee. I'm going to give you some nerd advice on a beer, okay? With with the coffee stouts, let it get a little warm.
Oh, okay.
I like to drink them cold, like from the beginning, but I also like to just let it sit a little bit. The aroma of the coffee will come through a lot more, and it's
Pass
like
that
it
over
changes
here.
a little
Thank you,
bit.
sir.
Like the flavor changes a little bit, doesn't it? Would you
Uh-huh.
agree? Like if it gets a little warm?
Yeah, well, for sure the coffee itself, or not the coffee, but
The
all this
aroma?
coffee
The
talk.
beer.
like, what are we drinking now? But yeah, for sure, when it gets warmer, it has a different taste. This is really sweet at first, though, but you're right, it gets so like heavy afterwards. It smells great.
It does. I think it smells great. You can taste a little bit of the booziness.
Yeah, I can smell the booziness.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not
I
even-
like it here. So Jonathan,
Is it barrel aged?
it's just aged on coffee is what it says.
Okay, so it,
So it
wasn't
sounds
maybe
like-
not in a barrel, but
Like, do
'Cause
you
I
have any
didn't
idea what
think-
that means?
I think the podcast y'all had with Jeremy, he said he soaked it in. He soaked the whole bean coffee in the brew.
okay.
Yeah, I've seen where
All
he'll
So I
put
think
it
that's
in
probably
like
like the aging process.
He'll
that
put it in
he's-
like a sack, and he'll
Yeah.
like let it coffee run over it for like 48 or 72 hours.
or the beer run over
yeah,
the coffee.
Yeah, beer run over the
Yeah.
beans.
I like
Sorry.
how he's
Yeah,
like, dude,
like
you guys already
AJ.
know the answer to this. Why you guys not remember?
I've had a lot of beer.
That was like last June, like a year ago. Oh, but geez, yeah, it was really. I thought that was really fascinating because being with the mash runners, I literally will like roast a batch and give it to any mash runner that wants to do a coffee beer, just to kind of play around with it. And the stuff the guys have come up with has been so cool. Like just like I've had some guys like soak it in like Everclear, coffee beans in Everclear.
Yeah.
And then after letting it sit with the whole bean, they'll drain that Everclear out
liquid,
and use that as like the concentrate tincture for their brew. I've had guys like
I've done that with like vodka and like other additives and stuff.
Okay. But it's really interesting.
Just something that's high alcohol and non-flavor.
Yeah. I know the Cowboy Joe at Sellerman's, that dude's got it down. Like,
is that their breakfast?
Coffee.
Yeah, their little breakfast.
The beer I like the most from Sellerman's.
Yeah,
they've honed in on that because when it first came out, maybe my palate's changed, but when it first came out, I thought it was way too much coffee. But maybe I've just liked more coffee. I don't know, or maybe they honed in on it. I mean, either way,
I've talked with him.
It's good now.
I've talked with him. He's a really cool guy, and he just. He wouldn't give me his exact recipe, but he would just say he did it in tinctures, and he would put it in throughout the whole batch, like there, little here, there, little there. He wouldn't like do it like all at once.
Right.
He kind of like put it in the whole process, and he's definitely like honed it in.
Yeah, I need to come and get some coffee from you because I did a golden stout a while back that had coffee, vanilla beans, and some cocoa nibs.
Nice.
And I wish I would have done made a cold brew and poured that in to like maybe the keg or like after I got done fermenting or something. I think it would have tasted better. Yeah,
and right now I'm working on a collab with one mash runner who wants to use 0 grain for his beer.
I heard about this.
And the gentleman, he wants to just use coffee, and he wants to extract the sugars out of the green coffee and use that sugar for his base instead of using grain. But it's really cool because I'm also talking with my friend Nelson up in Vancouver, Canada, and he's actually done this collaboration before with breweries. And I was like, whoa, no way. So apparently he's giving me advice on roasting it for 4 to 5 minutes. And literally, so
you're
like,
not going to give it to him just like super green? Okay.
No, that's what we were thinking at the very beginning. Maybe we could like extract the sugar out of it that way. But apparently, and this makes a lot of sense, we're going to like heat it up and activate the sugar. Yeah. And because literally the bean, when it's in the roaster, it'll expand in size. So it starts up. So it takes up more space, but it weighs less at the very end of it.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So essentially we're just going to like roast it for 5 to 6 minutes, like activate that sugar, get it out, and then pull it super early.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And then that way he can like use it through the mash. And,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'm it's a
really neat idea.
Excited. Yeah. He really wants to like blindside people with it. He just wants to be like, hey, what do you think about this beer?
Right.
You know what I mean? What do you think it is? And people are going to like go, and he's going to be like, no grain. You know, that's kind of like...
Are there any other beers that are no grain? I've never heard of a beer with no grain at all.
Well, no, I think
other like
rice.
I don't know.
Rice.
I mean, I know that they do like rice lagers and stuff.
Yeah.
But is rice considered a grain?
Well, essentially, all you're trying to do is get that sugar content,
right?
And whatever you can pull sugar out of.
Okay.
And then
what I had no idea. I was like, are we going to be the first ones? And my friend Nelson, he's like, nah, I've done it 3 or 4 times. But it's like, people in Canada, they definitely like want to reach for the edges because I haven't heard of anyone doing this.
No, I had never heard about it. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a cool idea.
So what other besides stouts, what other kind of coffee beers have you had? Like a blonde. I feel like I've had a blonde. I was looking for it just a second ago.
I've had a coffee blonde. The Green Growler had a coffee blonde.
Really? Yeah. Really? Every time I have a coffee beer, it's usually darker.
Yeah.
Usually. But
somebody did a coffee blonde from the area.
I was searching on my phone just ago because I was like, I could have swore. I know that Blue Moon has one, but it's like an iced coffee.
Hold on. Because I think I checked into it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Because they had it at the Green Growler, and I was like, man, that sounds cool. Because you don't get it very often.
Yeah, you don't. It's usually a stout whenever you see coffee.
Yeah.
I found it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be tough to kind of like keep it light, pull coffee.
Right.
But I think that's the toughest balance in like... I don't know if a coffee beer is necessarily the best thing, because I feel like
It kills the coffee?
There's certain elements of coffee that are really enjoyable. There's certain elements of beer that are really enjoyable,
Yeah.
but it's just like mashing them two together. It's an interesting little relationship for sure. I don't think I've ever had one coffee beer where I'm just like, oh, that is amazing. I want another one. Usually I can drink one and enjoy one, but usually they're so heavy.
Right.
I'm like, one is good.
Yeah.
So this is what I had out at the Green Growler. It was an Irish coffee cream ale.
Yeah.
And it's only
cream
5%.
ale.
So it's a lot lighter. But I remember the coffee coming through pretty prevalent.
Nice.
So you might enjoy something more like this, so it's a little bit lighter on the body.
I was thinking, I'm thinking, because usually, like, I like to drink 2 or 3 beers,
right.
But usually, of all the coffee beers I've ever had, even like Cellarman's is great, and it's just like one is good.
You're
it's like a
drinking a
good
meal.
taster. It's a good feel.
Right.
Yeah. But
Right.
the second one, it's like, I'm moving on.
Nah, man, I get it.
Irish cream.
So, man, you want to get into some games? You want to play some games with us here?
Yeah.
So, the first one here wanted to get into, we're going to do some current events. Just wanted to talk about some current events first. So this first one here, apparently 2 people fell into a chocolate vat in Pennsylvania and had to call the cops in order to get out.
Okay, this sounds like,
Willy Wonka.
the TV show. Either that or in Dallas, they got a thing on Valentine's Day where you could do a chocolate bath. Have you ever seen those advertisements? I'm like, who wants that?
A chocolate bath?
There's like you can get Groupons every year Valentine's Day. There's a place in Dallas. It's like, you and your loved one go sit in a tub of chocolate.
Get out of here.
Why would you want to do that?
I've heard of mud.
Yeah.
The mud baths, but I've never.
I guess it's kind of like a mud bath. And you just have to hope that nobody else was in the same chocolate.
These all just...
Yeah, you
like,
gotta be careful
look at
just
something
Googling
like this.
chocolate bath, man.
So it's something like this. I know. That's what I'm like.
You don't know what kind of sketchy stuff will show up
But
here.
it's something like this. This says Valentine's Day. So
Yeah, see, this is a real Valentine's Day chocolate bath. So these people were trying to recreate this.
I'm glad this had some sort of safe filter on it. Like, gee.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems real dumb.
Yeah, it's...
But the question is how the hell do you fall into a vat of chocolate?
Is that the literal vat right there that they said? It's a
Uh,
Mars... It's at a Mars chocolate factory?
Yeah, Mars Chocolate Factory in Pennsylvania. I think Hershey's in Pennsylvania.
Hershey's is Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, yeah. 2 people just fell in. They couldn't get out, so they had to call the police to help them get out.
So is the question, how did they fall in?
Sure. Yeah, how do you think they fell in? Because, like me, I'm thinking of like a vat, almost like what I would think of like a giant fermenter.
Yeah.
And, like, I know those guys have to clean them. So I'm
Right.
thinking maybe they were cleaning them. And if it was empty and you fell, like, that probably didn't feel good. I doubt that it felt good. But if it was full of chocolate, then
You guys
you're
remember
getting yourself a free bath.
Do you remember the Sylvester Stallone movie Cliffhanger?
Yeah.
And then Ace Ventura reenacted it with that raccoon. It might have been a situation like that. It might have been one person who was going to fall in, and then somebody else was trying to save them.
Oh, and then
both
they
went
fell in?
Yeah. They were like
that
holding
That
their
makes more
hands.
sense.
That does.
It's, yeah. It's the only thing
But
I
all you can think
logically-
of is Augustus Gloop, though, right?
What is that?
Like Augustus Gloop falling in the river of chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Augustus, good. Augustus, no, Augustus. Where's it going?
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene. So scary was the scene after Gustos when they get on that little ride, or
Oh,
they get on the
yeah.
little river boat,
Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
all blacks out, and they're in the tunnel, and
That's
all
the
the
first time
lights.
it goes dark. Before that, it's all positive.
Yeah,
all bright
That's
and
when things take
beautiful.
us, and you're like, wait a minute, is this a horror movie?
Is that arachnid?
Yeah.
So another one here. So did you guys ever work retail like outside of coffee? Did you ever work like retail? Where you
I
sell,
did.
like, clothes
I
or,
did
like,
serve
electronics or
tables essentially, from like Joe's Crab Shack and Chili's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then table games.
I worked at Hobby Lobby.
You did
in a frame
Hobby
shop.
Lobby. So
Yeah,
did
but
you-
it's kind of like, custom framework, but I did stock the shelves whenever we'd unload trucks and
Well,
stuff.
the real question is, because I worked at Best Buy for a while, the real question is, did you see guys steal stuff?
Ah, dude.
And did you see them do it in like the most obvious manner?
So at Hobby Lobby, they straight put a SWAT team on it because the general manager there, his yearly bonus is based on shrinkage. So he takes it and makes it personal. So he's like, if you're a guy and you work at Hobby Lobby, this guy's tapping you on the shoulder and saying, we're going to stop some thieves today. It's not like today, today's
taser training. All right, guys.
Yeah, it's not like today's Walgreens where you see these videos of people just freely steal. No,
Right.
they take it personal. So if you were obviously stealing, they would be on to you, and they would they get somebody on each side of the shelf, and they, prosecute. They call the cops. They go the whole 9 yards.
Really?
Right on.
So
right
yeah,
on.
I never had to tackle anybody, but I have, done some some football blocks and some, corner.
Oh wow,
men.
wow!
Oh, dang,
You
that's a
know,
lot more
I had
than I
my I had my coffee truck outside of Walmart
Uh-huh.
for 3 months, October, November, and December. 3 months.
Cops probably there every day.
Every
Yeah.
day on the clock. 2 SUVs rolled up, one guy coming out in cuffs. I'm like, all right, hey, you guys have a good day. And then the next day, 2 SUVs rolled up, one guy coming out in cuffs. It was like, wow. And I actually got to talk to him. I was like, does this happen? Like, he's like, yes.
Yep.
Every day.
Every day.
When I was a
crazy.
teenager, I got caught stealing from Walmart. So I know that they're dead serious. And I got caught because a friend of mine, he was going to get caught. And I, went back. I'm like, I'm going to go back. They're on to you. But I've had to go to court for other things like traffic tickets and stuff. Every time I've ever been to court, you wait in line behind 6 Walmart thieves. Walmart does not play around, dude. Every one of them. All right, next person up. You stole 6 bras. You know what I mean? The judge is
Even for little stuff.
Dude, you don't steal from Walmart. They are serious about it. They have a SWAT team that's on all the time. They know you. They keep a hit list, America's Most Wanted list in there.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
And what's funny is the big box retail stores, their cameras not only recognize people, but they recognize if you're a male or a female, and then they also recognize what age you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they'll map out where everyone walks, and if they have a new lipstick they want to sell, they know right where the average female walks to, and they'll put lipstick right there, and they know where the average guy walks to, and they'll put fishing poles on sale in that certain spot. But it's really
like the reason why they
dynamic.
put milk in the back of the store, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You walk through everything.
But this is next level.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
next
using
level, though.
AI technology.
Dang,
So
that's
all your
crazy.
big box retails, if you see an advertisement for Dudes like anti-perspirant deodorant, you're like, whoa, I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
They know the average
Dang.
dude walks this direction, goes down this aisle.
It's interesting that you even called out earlier that they also even buy products from sellers and then they use that as a way to sell other products themselves.
Oh.
They say this is something that's selling. We're making this. Thanks for giving us something that we can advertise our product off of. 'Cause
Yeah.
they don't even
Yeah.
have to do commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine being a mustard company,
Yeah.
and you've been in the mustard family for
Frenchie's is killing it.
generations, and
Yeah.
Walmart's I'm gonna, your property and your business is $10 million. I'll give you $30 million for your business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write you a $30 million check, and then you're gonna be triple the value,
Right.
triple over the
Yeah.
asking price, and then all of a sudden there's a great value mustard
Yeah.
brand that's
Right.
2 cents
Yeah, it's just a
cheaper.
little bit less.
And then your great granddad, Colonel Mustard's rolling over in his grave. He's like, damn you.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not supposed to
dang.
sell.
Yeah, but if you think about innovation, the difference between Kmart and Walmart, Kmart there used to be 1,200 Kmart stores,
Okay.
and there was only 500 Walmarts.
Oh, jeez, I didn't know that.
So at this point, you're thinking Kmart, Super K, they're dominating. But there's 2 things you're always doing for the rest of your life in business. And when you own a business, you're always innovating and you're always marketing.
Yes.
And if you stop doing one of those 2 things, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're always innovating. You're always trying to figure out who your customer is, how you can provide more value to your customer than anyone around you. And literally Walmart slowly but surely dominated the market.
Wow.
And Kmart just did the same thing. And now it's where's the 1,200 Kmarts?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
When I was a kid, man, my first PlayStation I put on layaway at Kmart, so I kind of have a certain place in my heart for
Oh,
them.
dang.
Because it took me like a year and a half to get this PlayStation.
Yeah.
Layaway. So I'm like, that was, I think, the only thing I ever got from Kmart, but it still
Yeah.
stands out to me. Like, man, Kmart,
Yeah.
they supplied
Dang.
my first PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right on it.
R.I.P. PlayStation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
story. So when I was working at Best Buy, I worked in the warehouse, and you also work at the front, security
Uh-huh.
or whatnot. And we caught a guy trying to stuff one of these PSPs into his pants.
Yeah.
And these are a giant box. Like, it's a huge box.
Yeah.
We'll walk around the corner. He's trying to stuff it in his pants, and we call him out on it. No big deal. But I wanted to show you this because
That's a huge
Florida
box.
man stuffs a crossbow in his pants.
Oh, okay.
Goes to steal a crossbow. So that's why I was asking about if you'd seen anybody like steal some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Not that they're gonna steal like giant frames or anything there at like Hobby Lobby, but
You'd be surprised at what people get away with. A crossbow, man. He's wearing sweatpants.
Whoa, and he's got a crutch. There you
Oh,
go.
the crutch is
social anxiety. No
He's
one
like,
wants to
if I
approach a
win-
handicap person.
Right.
He's playing it out. He's
You
like,
see,
I'm
if
just
I-
gonna limp with this. Wow,
If I
that
limp
is so
hard enough,
obvious.
they're gonna not know what's
That is
going on.
super
Yeah.
obvious. That's not even like close.
He probably
Wow. A literal crossbow.
put the shirt over him.
The guy, he's just trying to provide for his family. He wants to shoot some wild
Obviously.
game.
Speaking of, I used to teach driver's ed
Uh-huh.
as a side job,
He starts limping.
and
No one's around.
he's like, by the
I
way,
gotta practice.
this is a bone in my knee.
Yeah.
It's protruding out, but I'm good. I have a crutch. But back to the story. Like
Yeah.
this dude, he literally he an 80-year-old gentleman doing life in prison. LOL. Pulled out a crossbow. He got road rage, essentially. He had a crossbow in the trunk of his car.
What?
He had a crossbow in the trunk of his car. And when I did driver's ed, I had to show this story. I had to show this
Oh,
DVD
yeah.
story about road rage,
Right.
and teach the kids about, don't get angry on the road. Don't upset people on the road.
Right.
And these two dudes were telling their story. They're like, so we're riding this dude. He's upsetting us. We're upsetting him. And he's like, it's me and my friend. We're really big dudes. We can handle anything. And so this guy pulls us over. We pull over the side of the road to kind of hash it out. And we see this old gentleman step out of the car, and we're like, okay, we got this. We're both standing outside. He opens his trunk, turns around, and like shoots his friend.
Oh, geez.
And his friend dies, like right there. And the old guy gets in his car and drives off. It was like,
I'd rather be shot with a gun than be shot with a crossbow. For sure.
for real.
Like
Yeah.
the broadhead on that thing, the hole
Oh,
you
yeah.
put beside
It's
you.
like-
Like I'd rather get shot with a gun.
That's probably why he
road-
died.
Yeah.
Because getting it out.
Bled out.
Yeah, he bled
Road
out.
rage. Road rage is it's like
That's
don't,
crazy though that you
don't-
pulled a
Dude,
crossbow.
when
So-
somebody pops the trunk, you just get in it. It doesn't matter.
Whoa, this dude is not wanting to talk.
Yeah, you just don't wait to see what comes out of the trunk. You just get
Right.
out of
He's
there.
gonna put on some brass knuckles, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can take it. Some simple
Yeah.
brass knuckles he keeps in the trunk.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, man.
I warned the kids. I was like, if you want to leave, you can, but I have to play this video.
Right. Right.
That's
So
cool.
before we get into this next game, do you want to try this other coffee stout that I brought, Larry?
let's
Yes. What is the secondary stout?
So you brought these, Larry.
Yeah, okay. I get behind this. Yes.
So to tell us about the place. Did you end up going to the place or?
So here's the thing about Zilker Brewing. So I'm gonna tell this story real quick. It's gonna be
Go
short.
ahead.
Went to Austin with my family. What was it, like a month ago?
Something like that,
A
yeah.
few weeks ago. I was like, all right, let's go check out a brewery. We went to go see the bats.
Sweet.
Turns out the bats, they don't always want to come out. So we waited around forever.
You were in that group?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, dude, I got 3 littles. I got a little kid. 4 little. I don't even know
I'm
how many
like,
kids
you
I
have
got.
4
I got 4
little
little
kids. Get out
kids.
of here.
I got 4 little kids. I'm like, we go to Austin all the time, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna freaking see the bats.
Yeah, yeah.
We're doing it. We found the place. It took so long for the bats to come out that it ended up being like super late, and then we're like, well, I can't take the kids to a brewery on a Saturday night, 10 o'clock.
Right.
So instead, that was my brewery story. I was going to go to this brewery. Instead, I just went to, H-E-B, and I got like a 6-pack. And it was so good that I went back the next day and got like 2 different.
Dude.
So So I gave Joe a mix pack of
They're-
3 different kinds of beers.
That Pale
they had.
Ale and that Light American were on point.
Nice.
They were
Those
good.
were so good.
I remember I was like,
Nice.
wow. And I like how all of their labels are consistent. It has the same vibe to it, but just different colors.
Yes.
So there's something about branding that I'm sure you can appreciate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Having something that you just see and you just know. That's Zilker.
Something that's consistent. They literally branding is it's you have 2 seconds and
Yeah,
that's it.
That Icy Boys is on
Dude,
point.
this was that light lager. This was hella
Nice.
good, dude.
It was.
This one was great.
They partnered with somebody else.
Oh,
for
yeah,
that
'cause
one.
here it
yeah,
is right
look,
here.
See, look at their line, man. There's just something that's satisfying about that. It's got a 70s vibe. It looks like some 70s basketball shorts.
It
Wow.
does. It does, because
Yeah.
these makes me think of the Seattle Supersonics. Like this one here, this Parks and Rec. Makes me think of the Supersonics.
Yeah, those 3 lines going across the bottom of the can. That's so classic. That's nice.
Here you
That's a
go.
good
See?
consistent feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that Parks and Rec Pale and the Icy Boys light lager, both those were hella good.
And my wife, dude, I had to twist her arm to let her have 2 of those to give to you
Oh, were
because
these?
she wanted them all.
Oh, really?
The
Well-
coffee stouts.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him being all nice. We
Oh,
just
yeah.
destroy our palates with the same. But yeah, no, those other 2 beers were phenomenal. So I'm already coming in with high
So
expectations.
yeah,
I'll be honest.
I definitely want to come back and check this place out. It looked like a clean cut place though. Like I probably could have taken the kids, but
I mean,
you know,
I'm going to be going in July, so I'll pick you up some.
well, okay, cool. But having kids that span the age of 10, 8, 2, and a baby,
A newborn?
it's like when
Yeah.
you run. It's a ticking time bomb that late. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
taking
totally
them out.
understand that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I grew up in a big family of like 6. So I literally have 11 nieces and nephews
Oh, nice,
from the
yeah.
age of like 6 months to like 14.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kind of like all 11 of
Right.
them.
You have a
Yeah.
sweet spot
Oh
to take them in
my
public,
gosh, yeah,
and I
there's-
used it up on the bats. That was it.
You know, when I went to see the bats, and it was just so disappointing. Like,
Yeah.
they all came out of the cave, but it was just, they were like moths, butterflies,
They were
from a
BS.
distance, because they were real quiet.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of float through the air. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking like,
Yeah. I'm thinking it's gonna
I'm
fill
like,
the
yeah, this is
sky.
gonna be intense. And it was just like, there they are.
Was it at a bridge?
Nice
It was
and
at this bridge,
peaceful.
yeah.
See, this is
Nice.
so this
Like
is-
I went to Carlsbad
peaceful.
Caverns before.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I've done
those,
that. That was
they
cool.
come out for like an hour straight, and it's black in the sky, so it's an experience. Here, they had to have a boat that like people pay to be on this boat. That if it wasn't for that boat spotlighting, I wouldn't have even seen a single bat.
Yeah.
So,
Bats
yeah.
are-
Yeah, I've
they're
So
done
I'm
not
like,
Yeah,
oh
caverns
look,
are
they're flying
Yeah,
over there. It looks
they're
like some
not
moths.
really.
Yay, we waited 2 hours for this.
Thank you for the mosquito population.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see this in the sky. I think of every Walmart parking lot and those blackbirds.
Yeah, it's
Why do
different
they?
with bats,
but
though,
why
dude.
do they
It's different.
collect around Walmart parking lots? Literally every Walmart parking lot.
That's a
The
very good
mosquitoes,
question.
man, they're just hungry. They're hungry.
Yeah,
Bro.
well, he's not talking about bats. He's talking about crows.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
know, Walmart they
I'm
have
sorry.
crows.
Crows?
Well, they're not crows, are they?
Yeah, at Walmart. Walmart. Just say what is the capital bird of Walmart?
Look, it's like it's a thing.
This is really like thin.
It is.
It's really nice.
I think
so
I think
smooth.
it's like 5 ABV or something like that.
No, but I mean, like, you can feel it like on your tongue. The mouth feel is really nice and thin. Like Zilker Brewing Company Coffee Milk Stout. Nice.
Maybe it's the fact that it's a milk stout, and that's an
Yeah.
imperial rye.
Yeah, no, that's like
So
it's
a different
really
kind of
like
stout specifically.
Oh, much
still I could only drink like one can. You know what I mean? I
Right.
wouldn't want to like go back to back. But for the first can, this is nice.
yeah, I like this.
Mm.
So we're gonna do a
pops.
debate club here, okay? So the Amarillo Zoo needs some help identifying it's an unidentified mystery object that they caught outside
it
of.
right there?
Yep, this is it.
I already know what it is.
What is this?
I'll wait and see what.
I
you
mean,
guys
literally,
say
it just says
first.
here: the city of Amarillo detailed its security cameras inside the perimeter fence. The zoo captured a strange image. unknown animal
what it
figure.
is?
The
I
zoo
don't
is
care.
calling the figure an
I
unidentified.
don't care. I don't care. This is-
Genuinely.
All right, let's just say it's a furry. You guys seen the kids that wear furry stuff?
Oh, it's a
This looks like a
furry?
kid that's in a furry. You know?
Yeah.
This is the kind of
What
kid
does the fox say?
whose parents are getting them to put a litter box in the school bathroom.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
Kinda
What is
stuff.
this?
You haven't heard of furries? They've been
No.
around for a while. It's kind of like this like small subset of culture where they like don't fit in, so they found an identity in wearing costumes.
Okay.
And then like acting, it's very sexualized though.
No, but you said something about a litter box in the
Oh,
bathroom.
there's
Some
there's
of it
real
is.
cases of like these furries
Yeah.
saying that they identify as this in real life, and then the school's putting a litter box because they identify as a cat. Litter box in the public bathroom.
Yeah, that's not happening, bro.
I mean,
It's a real thing. It's
I mean,
happening.
yeah, they found it in like R. Kelly's bathroom, so it's
Yeah.
pretty. It's
Oh,
pretty
dude.
like.
R. Kelly's the first furry.
I mean,
man,
I don't want to
imagine,
say it, but
imagine,
no wonder why they repeat it.
Imagine having your own daughter living at R. Kelly's house,
I can't.
and then your own daughter being like, "No, I don't want to leave. He's a really nice guy."
I didn't even know that was a thing. That really happened?
That was a court case. The whole
I know
court,
the court case,
The
but
whole
I didn't know
court
that was the
case.
details
The whole
of it.
court case was these parents were like, "We want our 18-year-old, 17-year-old daughter home,"
Oh, yeah.
and our daughter is telling us she doesn't want to come home, but we know she should come home eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And he's like, "No, she wants to be here. Trust me."
Yeah, I don't know. I will say that this doesn't look like anything that would be like. I've heard things people say, "Oh, it's a Bigfoot style creature." I'm like, no, it's obviously somebody in a costume of some
Look
kind.
at those legs.
That creature.
Those legs do not match the face, tail, and hands.
I don't even see a
Those
tail.
legs look like regular pants.
To me, it looks
But
like
it does
my
have like a
son
furry
dressed up
top.
as a-
Has a tail.
It looks like a tail. I'm seeing a
I
tail,
don't
an arm,
see
and
it.
and a face mask.
But like my son dressed up as a werewolf a couple of years ago for Halloween. This is legit like the
That's your
Halloween
son right
the
there.
mask.
Yeah.
Like that's the mask.
That's what I'm saying. This is not some unidentified object here. What are they doing putting this out there? Come on, there's creepier things that they have on footage like this
You
than this.
talk to like anybody that's served in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Anybody that's served in the Air Force and has been on a jet, they've seen stuff.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like
I can
tell
imagine.
us what you know.
Right. I can only imagine. Yeah. All right.
I was trying to think of the
They're like-
X-Files.
So
Like when you were
one
talking.
one more thing here. So, just the question is what would you do if you were put into this situation? That's the question.
What would I do if I was putting into a
It's
situation
the
with a cat?
circle of life.
Just keep watching it.
Aw, cute little
All right.
baby cat.
Oh, he's got some friends.
Oh, and 5 little infants. They're like almost blind. 6, 7, 8,
Dude, that's a fat
9
litter.
little infant cats. This must be springtime in Texas.
So, like, I know you're not hearing it right now, but he's like, "Oh, I was gonna take one, but I'm not taking all of these."
Look at Slim Jim coming in with the
Oh.
comment. This is a calculated mission, and they executed perfectly.
One cat
They
comes
sent
out.
one out, and it was like, look how
It's like,
cute
we're
he is.
cute.
Right.
Now there's literally 10.
It's like, come on, buddy.
Literally 10 kittens. There's
We
one
got
kitten
him.
sitting on the middle of the road, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, I'm cute and cuddly,
This is
and I have like 9 siblings, and we're all cute and
are you
cuddly
taking
and
them all? What are you
starving."
oh, you leave them all.
Because like you see one, you're like, "Hey, I might take one. I might rescue one, take it to the pound, whatever, do something with it." But are you gonna take all 15 that come out of the
Yeah.
woodworks?
Do the humane thing. Take all 10 of them to the woodworks.
to the woodwork.
Like,
Oh, man, you put 'em in the
like,
chipper? That
just,
sounds awful.
Just chip it up, the circle of life. The cat population is not doing bad. Trust me.
I mean, it's not. But like, do you come back and do you bring food? Do you just like
No, you
let
don't.
Mother Nature
You
take
don't.
care of it?
Pound it up.
Because I mean, it looks like they're in the middle of
pound,
nowhere.
they-
It literally looks like somebody may have brought like a
are.
box and just left them on the side of the road and then just
You know
drove
that
off.
they say if the kittens look really clean and well maintained, like leave them alone.
Yeah.
Because usually the mom is going to come back
Is
to
clean
clean them up. But if they look dirty and they have a bunch of grass in them, then usually the mom hasn't been around
Right.
in a while.
So mom's been around, so leave them.
Mom's been around, leave them. Let Mother
is, though,
Nature.
So you got a cute cat that comes up to you, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to take this home and adopt it. But then you have a cat who's truly in need and has like a cyst in its eye and is like permanently closed. You're like, nope.
You're like-
You get in the car and drive off.
Yep.
Because cats are there to serve us.
They're
even
either
though they think
cool
we
or
serve
they
them.
suck.
No.
So it's like, are you wanting to take one from its mom who's taking care of it, or there's one who's really in need? The average person is going to take the one that's not really in need.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I would agree. So yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't mess with them. To be honest, I probably wouldn't have stopped for the one. Probably would have just kept driving.
I grew up in the country. It
Yeah.
was yeah.
So did I. So did I.
Was like intentionally left there.
Yes. Somebody dropped the box off.
Yeah.
Drop the box
You'll
of these
either
things.
figure out how to fish, or you won't.
You either catch
That's
tuna or
right.
you won't. I mean, it's kind of how it goes, man.
Man, that is so cute, though. That's so adorable.
Yeah,
like- it's
Some
turned
of
into
them
like
are
a
white,
Walking
some of
Dead
them are
scene.
tuxedo.
Right.
They're all like tuxedo or white cats. It's like,
I love that you know that. Tuxedos.
He's a cat daddy. He knew all sorts of things. He's like,
He's a cat daddy.
Based on this, we gotta leave it alone.
oh man, I listen to way too much like NPR.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the time of season. You'll see a lot of like young cats around. So,
So that's why you said springtime in Texas.
yes, springtime in Texas, you're guaranteed stray cats like living underneath your front porch for some reason. You're like, whoa, where did these cats come
Right.
from? Yeah,
Oh, so they
Yeah.
mate seasonally.
yeah.
I would never guess that.
Yeah, definitely. They're like,
So
At
I
least
will
that's what they
say
say.
both of these beers were really good. I've had a lot of stuff from 903 that's been great. I've had a lot of coffee stuff that's been awesome. The Zilker was a really nice, refreshing surprise.
popping hit.
It was a
that was
surprise.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I expected the 903 to be good. Zilker, I didn't know anything about it. I had high expectations, and they met all the expectations.
Does it have any information on the can about it?
Inspired by Cafe Cubano, which Cafe Cubano is essentially like a lot of like Cafe Bustelo with a lot of sugar in the raw. It's like a lot of really strong bitter tobacco, like the dark roast that we
Okay,
had,
yeah.
with a lot of sugar in the raw mixed in it. So you get this sweet bitter combo instantly, like all at once. That's your classic Cafe Cubano. So it's like inspired by the Cafe Cubano. Our creamy American stout is brewed with hand-selected coffee beans from roasters right here in Austin, which there's a lot of really good roasters in Austin, actually. Chameleon Cold Brew started out in Austin. They're really well known. They got bought out by Nestle. Actually,
Yeah, they're
Nestle
pretty
bought
big
them
now,
out. Yeah. Nestle, of all brands, like, why would you buy a coffee? They must have wrote them a really nice check.
Yeah.
The result is a big roasty profile with notes of chocolate, caramelized sugar, and light hints of vanilla, which is really true. It's
Yeah.
spot on, you
I
know.
love
it. It is
There's
spot
no
Cheesy radio
fruitiness.
voice
There's
coming out
just chocolate, caramel, and hints of vanilla, and it's really intense. I mean, and it's also smooth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love how
It's really
easy it
smooth.
is to drink.
So do you think that's because of the Cafe Cubano inspiration? Is that what you think why it's more smooth, or
Honestly, I think it's just the way they brewed
or
it.
does it help that it comes in at 5.8% instead of 12.6?
Well, I mean,
Instead of a
that's gonna
12.6. Yeah, your 12.6 just means you have a lot of sugars in
Right,
there.
yeah.
And I feel like a lot of those sugars really kind of like make it that thicker drink.
For sure.
And then this drink feels thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a thinner
And
mouthfeel
it's
for
more
sure.
of just like the way they process it. You know, pros and cons on
Right.
both.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that one,
But-
to me, that's the one that you drink and then you ski down a mountain. And then after you ski down the mountain and you're hanging out, you drink this one at the end of the night.
The night,
you know?
yeah,
You
the
don't drink this and
12%.
ski
Yeah,
down
you
the
don't
mountain.
drink the
I like the
12%
idea.
and go
But
down.
that one gets you boosted up enough to get you going. You
Yeah.
know, you might do some tricks
yeah.
Nice.
on the way down.
Nice. So
Yeah.
one thing I just am thinking about here, I don't know why this just came to mind. I drink a lot of milk stouts and milk coffee, or not milk stouts, coffee stouts, coffee beers. Dang, I think I have too much caffeine. That's what I'm getting at here.
Coffee.
is-
Coffee. You got coffee? You got coffee?
Seems like it. So like we've had some of your coffee, which has been awesome, and then this stuff. I'm assuming that you're gonna have a decent amount of caffeine in these because they actually have coffee in them. Does the caffeine come through? Do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question.
In the
Like
beers?
a coffee beer, does it have caffeine?
Will the caffeine come through? I don't know how the caffeine works. Do you guys don't do like a decaf, do you?
We
No, is it that's because that's for wussies? I mean, I get it.
no.
For wuss.
Okay. So to answer your second question first, is decaf for wussies? No, decaf is not for wussies.
You're like, let's level set first.
No.
before we get into this.
First of all, like decaf drinkers are your purists.
yeah,
Really?
they
Those are
love
your
the flavor.
purists because
Okay.
their doctor says, "Hey, you got to cut back on your caffeine," and they're like, "Oh no!" They're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"But what about that decaf? Do you have decaf because I want to taste the coffee?
Yeah.
but I don't want all the caffeine from the coffee."
Okay.
So your decaf drinkers are like your purists, your people
Yeah.
who love the taste for the taste and not for the caffeine.
That makes
Yeah, that
sense.
makes
So
sense.
that being said, to answer your first question
Yeah.
first,
No,
Yeah.
no,
okay,
no.
is going to be like if your caffeine, the caffeine in coffee is really, let me say, it's kind of like you have like a filter,
Okay.
and I forget the chemical name, but it essentially, like, normally when your body is like ready to go to sleep, your body starts putting out all these chemicals, and it's just kind of like starting to slow down like your energy
It
process.
makes me think of like melatonin.
It kind of
is
like,
one thing.
but when you drink coffee, it takes that filter away,
okay.
so all your normal adrenaline can happen.
I've heard that before, so it's not like it actually gives you energy. It just
Yeah.
makes it to
It
where
takes
your
that-
natural energy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It takes that filter like away.
Yeah.
And that way your normal adrenaline can just flow through, and you can kind of just have through like a normal evening.
Right.
Versus normally when your body is there kicking in full force, it allows it to like filter out like some of that, and it allows you to like go to sleep or to
Okay.
wind down.
'Cause,
So
like,
it's not like amping you up like a Red Bull or
Yeah.
like your Monster Energy drinks
No,
that
that's
are
probably
just
all the
like,
other
or
chemicals
like
in it that are amping
giving
you up,
you
right?
caffeine.
Okay.
It's more like the natural caffeine in coffee is like taking away that one chemical compound that allows you, that filters through everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that translate to beer though? Like, does that
Ooh,
same
yeah.
thing come over in the beer?
honestly, I have no idea. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
It just makes me
That's
wonder.
I
interesting.
Maybe
wish I
it's in
was
my
like
mind.
yeah.
I don't
like-
think so because
Yeah.
I'm drinking a lot of coffee beers and I've never like been like, oh, I'm kind of feeling a little jazzed right now.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it's always just a beer that has that
Yeah.
good taste.
Yeah.
And that being said, like, we also have to understand, like, everybody's bodies and the way everybody's processes things is so different.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to like make like groundbreaking like rules like this is a yes and this is a no, but it's
Right.
really all who you are and
Right.
how your body reacts, you know. So it's like it's really tough to answer those type of questions
Yeah.
because it's like who are you is the ultimate like formula,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
So-
obviously caffeine hits me differently than it does most people. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people can't drink caffeine, like coffee at night. But me, if I have coffee in the evening at all, it's almost like it dumps the rest of my energy or something, and then I go to sleep like a baby.
Really?
Like I just feel like normal, and then I'm just like, all right.
I'm not
Yeah.
sleeping.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It doesn't keep me up.
Yeah.
Dang.
But
Yeah.
I'm never like trying to drink it at bedtime or anything.
Right.
But I'm
Okay.
never concerned. Like some people are really mindful. Like, oh, I can't drink this
Coffee
this
after like
late.
5 p.m.
And I'm like, I just
Yeah.
never think about it. If I want a coffee, I'll get one.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're like I'm the exact same way. I can drink coffee right before I go to bed and just go like right
Yeah.
to sleep.
I think it helps me.
Dang.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder now that you're bringing this out, saying that it kind of just allows the chemical in your brain to keep you with energy. Makes me wonder if like, because I think Black Rifle does some, and I know like Death Wish does like really high caffeinated coffees. If that's just all bullshit and it's just like a marketing ploy.
Well, they might actually put extra caffeine in there, kind of like what he said.
Like some sort of extract
Red
or something.
Bull or something like
oh,
that.
Okay.
There's certain like caffeine you can add to it, but I don't think Black Rifle like adds caffeine to their coffee. I feel like it's the way they
think
market
that
themselves.
They have a specific, I think, brew that's supposed to be highly caffeinated, if I remember correctly.
I feel like it's genuinely all in the way they market themselves.
Yeah.
See, and
I feel like that's the way they market, and that's the way they, because you can't like roast more caffeine.
What
You
about
can't
that
like
death
cook
wish, though?
coffee.
You know, they have that death wish. It's almost like, are you up for the challenge?
Dude, I've
never
it.
had it, but
Yeah.
I've had it, and I'm just going off of what it says on the can or on the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had some Zach Wild blend of some kind, and I drank like a cup and a half, and I felt like I was bouncing off the walls, and I'm like,
it could be in your mind.
Then they
though.
What
might
the hell did you give me?
actually either be adding other types of like straight caffeine to it.
Yeah.
The caffeine question's like really tough because it's
Yeah.
on a chemistry level. The way it breaks down in real coffee is there's the Arabica plant and there's the Robusto plant. So the Arabica tree and then there's the Robusto tree. They both grow coffee. They can both do it at high altitude, low altitude.
yeah,
The Robusto coffee is really known, and it's really more popularized in Europe. And it's where a lot of Europeans, Italians enjoy coffee Robusto style.
really.
And Robusto style isn't going to have a great taste. Robusto style is going to be bitter. It's going to be your Folgers. It's going to be your tobacco. But it's going to do the trick. It's going to get you up and going.
Really?
And legitimately, the caffeine content in Robusto is way much more.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So the
Okay.
Robusto tree has the caffeine, doesn't have the flavor.
Okay.
Dude,
to
you
keep
started
it
saying
simple.
caffeine with the same accent. That was
I
awesome.
love it.
I'm like all
That's
into it.
awesome.
I'm all into it. So because literally that's how like the people who have explained it to me were like literally from Italy. It's really interesting. It's like I do
Yeah.
think about those people, Igor. They just
Yeah,
really
you're
explain it, and so it's like you have the Robusto, which is going to be high caffeine, your tobacco, not a lot of flavor, but a lot
Yeah.
of punch.
Really? Okay.
And most of your coffee today is Arabica. Arabica
Okay.
is going to be your flavor. It's going to be the body. It's going to be really nice. It grows faster. You're able to turn over a much faster product. So mostly everybody does Arabica because you're still getting great caffeine from it. You're still getting good flavor from it. You're able to do a lot more with it. You're able to grow it faster,
yeah.
you know. And then Robusta is like it was the market, but now it's like a small market.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
everyone's
I
like,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
interesting.
being said about caffeine, that's all I know. Other than like the people that are doing
ever expected. So
the,
yeah.
the people that are doing like Death Wish and all this stuff, it's either they might be using like a Robusto blend,
Yeah.
like they're doing 50% Robusto, 50% Arabica.
Yeah.
You know, they can both be from Colombia.
Yeah.
You know, they're both Colombian or wherever they're originating it from. It's just that different tree that grows slower, the different tree that grows
that's cool.
faster.
They might do 5% cocaine.
Or
Sprinkle that in.
yeah, exactly. Or what I've been sold and people have tried to turn me onto is that like straight energy concentrate where it's like all like different types of vitamins, like things that are just straight adrenaline.
Like L-theanine.
They're like, you want to
and
do a
all that
half an ounce in a 30-ounce beverage, and that'll shoot you through the roof.
Yeah, like vitamin
and,
B.
and so I'm always wondering
like B12
about
does
I'm
it.
always wondering about these companies that have access to a lot of capital.
Right.
They have a
Yeah.
client base, and they're like, hey, let's
they
toy
soak their
around with
beans in
it.
something. Yeah.
But or I don't think and honestly, it's like, or it could just be the marketing. You know what I mean?
Right.
How they marketing.
Right.
So it's really, I'm not trying to like say it's one or the other. I'm just saying it's like either putting something in it or they're
Yeah.
doing like Arabica Robusto, which
Right,
would be
okay.
more traditionally,
Huh.
or they're just like doing Arabica coffee and just marketing it
Right.
as like, something
Super high
high
caffeine,
caffeine.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, because it makes me wonder, like, how do you even test the caffeine?
I'm gonna have to try it
content?
now. I'm gonna have to try this crazy
The
Death
Death
Wish
Wish.
stuff and really put it to the test.
Yeah.
Say,
Try it.
does it have me shaking? Is it something out of the ordinary, or is it just a mental thing where
Like,
it's
I
marketing?
didn't.
It's like it's probably both. It's probably the marketing makes you think it's extreme, and then they probably have that other coffee that's like, okay, this is different. So
Yeah.
then when your mind notices something different's happening, it's going straight to death wish. I'm gonna die.
So I'll tell
Yeah.
you, like, when I had it, I made a Chemex of it. So I think I made, was it 3 cups maybe is what it has, and I was on my second cup, and I texted my brother. I'm like, dude, what the hell did you give me? He's like, oh, that's death wish. It's like super high caffeinated. I'm like, oh really? I thought it was just supposed to taste good. I didn't know it was supposed to be high caffeinated. He said that he dilutes it. He does like 1 scoop of that to like 2 scoops of something else because of the caffeine
also,
content.
if you're the kind of person that drinks 1 cup of coffee, you're
Yeah.
not the litmus test. For
No,
this.
not at all.
And you're the only person who's ever told me about it.
Yeah,
So
oh,
I
okay.
need to throw that out now and be like, I got to try this and
Yeah,
see what
try
it's
it.
really about. Because you kind of scared me. I'm like, what is this stuff?
I mean, when
Forget
I
that.
read it, I think it was like 3 times more caffeinated than like a Bang Energy. I think
Cheers.
Bang's the highest one on the market right now for energy drinks.
Bang? I don't know. Charity drinks bangs.
No,
and I've
Bang.
tried drink. They taste kind of clean. They don't taste.
Do they?
You know, yeah, I had a friend that LOL regular to my drive-thru. He distributes Monsters, and now
Yeah.
he's like a distributor for Bang.
Yeah.
Essentially, he owns the warehouses that they receive and ship
Oh,
from.
cool.
You know, he's like that type of. He's like an older gentleman.
Yeah.
Just owns like really good prime real
Yeah.
estate for that type of market.
nice.
But he's telling me, yeah, he says like Bang is like going.
They're taking
and
off.
Bang's where it's at,
yeah.
yeah.
They are, dude.
But really, I hope that all energy drinks will just die eventually in my mind, because I do feel like it's just something that's not like natural.
Right.
You know, it's not natural as
adding a bunch
caffeine
of crap
or
into your
coffee.
body.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The
That ain't gonna
caffeine from
happen.
coffee is so natural, and I feel like the caffeine you're getting from other energy drinks is like an upper, and then there's gonna be, your body's gonna go down.
It's gonna crash.
Your
Yeah.
body's gonna crash. Whereas I feel like if you were just responsible with coffee, you won't experience these extreme lows.
So
you know,
what I'm hearing is put down the energy drink, go buy CJ's coffee.
CJ's
If for
any
some
coffee,
reason-
support your local roaster. Yes,
But if you're
any
around here,
coffee.
you gotta
You're in the
do
area.
Yes,
it.
if you are in Denison, Sherman, Grayson County, you please
Pick
go to
If,
the
if for some reason you're addicted to your energy drink, once you crash, it sounds like pour yourself a CJ's coffee anyway. So you should just be buying CJ's coffee regardless.
That's
Right?
the answer.
yeah,
He-
yeah.
But
He helps.
Buy
It helps
CJ.
addicts.
Yeah.
Probably get you off your addiction of energy drinks.
nah.
No.
But
not really.
so shout out to 903, shout out to Zilkers, and Jonathan, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for educating us a little bit. I need to come down or come over and sit down, because I know you do like the different coffee methods, like
The
an
brewing
AeroPress.
techniques?
Yes, brewing
Yeah.
techniques. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to come down and sit down with you so I can try the different techniques, so I can see what really is the best.
Yeah, it's really fun because you just break it down. You have your espresso,
Yeah.
you have your pour over, French press, and AeroPress. You know,
What about the science experiment? I brought this up last week. This episode hadn't even came out yet. I brought this up before. So I went to Costa Rica, and they have a Starbucks farm there. You know that they. I went there when it first opened up. It's like a tourist spot, but they like all the coffee they grow, they give it away for free. It's kind of a way to just distribute coffee. But at the Starbucks there, they had one that looked like a meth
It's
lab.
one of this, right?
Yeah. So you got to help us understand, what is this thing doing?
the scub rats. Yes, they.
Brings it up again.
Man,
Oh, man.
that is just another way to brew a drip coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like in the drip coffee category.
Okay. It just drips up. Doesn't it kind of like bubble
It's
up?
called a siphon.
Uh-huh.
So the idea
okay.
is
The
the
vacuum
siphon
siphon?
is consistency. So it's like all about it being like the right temperature at the right time every time. Like you can
Okay.
brew over and over and over again,
I
and it's
gotcha.
going to be consistent
Because the vacuum activates at a certain temperature
at a
every
certain
time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So the vacuum activates at a certain temperature and drips over the coffee at a certain time.
Yeah,
And it's
okay.
like super fantastic. If you try doing this, like
Now,
at
your
home,
voice
it's
tells
really
me that this
tough.
is just a gimmick.
No. Honestly, it's just another brewing method.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not a gimmick
Okay.
for sure. It's another brewing method that they like. It's really fun to watch. It genuinely is. If you
Yeah,
ever,
that's
have
why
you ever watched
that's why
a
we did it,
siphon?
'cause we're like,
Did
oh,
you
I got to
wa-
see that thing.
Did you actually get to watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet! It's really fun to
It was
watch.
cool.
Huh?
Yeah, I did that one only because we all tried different kinds, and I'm like, I got to try this. I got to see it, and they did it right in front of
Yeah.
you and stuff, and it was cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think that's what
it's the
the
only
whole.
time I ever saw it.
I think that's what the whole thing is about coffee is like if you're making it like exciting, if you're engaging, and if you're able to watch the whole brew process, that's like fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful. You know what I mean? You really get to see the way it like extracts, the way the development works, the way it goes out, and then it's in your cup and right in front of you,
Right.
and you're just
Yeah.
like, ooh, this connection is like all there,
Yeah.
you know? And it's really amazing. Like, I can't like rag on it, but like the siphon is like, if you were to do that at home, it would be really tough because it's like the temperature and the heat and the time. It's really like difficult to like pull off. You know, you'll probably ruin quite a bit of batches. Like if you were to do it at home, but if you're there and someone's like walking you through it and showing you through it, it's really fun. Yeah.
When in
I gotcha.
Rome.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they walked us through the whole process of coffee from beginning to end, from the plants to we got to go through all the different steps. They have like stations set up that show you like each step of the coffee process, and
Nice.
then let you get out there and do it. Like have the rake or whatever and rake up some beans. And they had like the thing that like shakes the beans and tries to get those cherry things, or not cherry. What did you call it? I think it's a cherry, right? On the outside of the bean itself.
The little shell?
The shell,
or the
yeah.
lighter bean. Usually when they're shaking it, they're trying to get the lighter beans like
Yeah, see, this is. I mean,
They're
this
trying
has
to
been a few
separate the light from the
years.
dark kind of thing.
well, the heavier the more moisture content it has,
Yeah.
the more heavier it's going to
Right,
be.
I got you.
So they're trying to keep all the heavy beans like in the middle and like get
Yeah.
rid of the lighter beans like
Oh, okay, I
off to the
gotcha.
side.
It was cool. The people there,
Yeah.
the local site that we were visiting, they took us there. It was literally the second week it opened,
Oh,
so it just
wow.
opened up. Whenever that is, that'll kind of
Yeah.
date how long it's
Yeah.
been. So I already forgot a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, but
But-
it was cool.
Yeah. The siphon is really fun. You put like your coffee on the top and then you put your cold water on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then you heat up that cold water in the bottom of the siphon, and then as soon as it hits that right temperature, it automatically fills all the way up to the top and drips over the top vessel
Yeah.
over your coffee.
Oh, that's cool.
And then once all your water is up there, then you cut the heat, you stir it, you let it sit for a few minutes, and then you pull the little plug. All the water goes back down into the bottom vessel.
Okay.
And then you pour that vessel into your cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
It's
Nice.
it's kind of like a pour over,
Yeah.
but it has that two bulb system essentially. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice.
I mean,
But
that sounds fun. So if somebody wanted to come up there and get a taste of all the different brewing methods, can they just need to call and set up an appointment? Can they just show up and say,
No,
"Hey,
literally-
Jonathan, hook me up"?
No, literally, I have I focus on like training the baristas, training someone how to do pour over. There's always somebody that can do a pour over, French press, or AeroPress 24/7.
Okay, awesome.
There's a morning shift barista, then there's an evening shift barista. That if there's a ticket or a customer that comes through,
And they know how to do it all. Okay, cool.
Out of 54 staff, it's like you usually want to have one person that's like your bartender,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then everyone else is kind of like rolling silverware and running the front register, running the drive-through,
I got you.
things
Okay.
like
Nice.
that. So
Oh,
there's
cool.
always like a barista that can like perform that task there. And really like the drive-through has just been like phenomenal because it's like it's hard like appealing to like the specialty coffee crowd
Yeah.
when you tell them you have a drive-through in your cafe.
Oh, for sure.
Then all of a sudden like the specialty coffee crowd's like, oh well, then you're not really like you have a drive-through. You must like serve smoothies. And I was
Well,
like, yes,
yeah,
we
we do.
we do. We serve it
You have like a Scrabble game. They're like, oh, you
Yes.
got board games? No.
yeah. So
They turn their nose
it's like
up to you guys.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
throughout the past 10 years, or at least when we started roasting, we really wanted to appeal to that coffee crowd, but also appeal to the crowd that just wanted the cream and sugar and the smoothies. Because it was
That's
like
where you make a lot of
there's
your
like
money, I
3
get it.
high schools around this area.
Right.
There's a lot of demographic that just wants like a smoothie and move on with their day. And so it's like we cater to that clientele. But also if you come in and you order like a doppio, or if you want like espresso macchiato, we're like, yes, this is the clientele we really want.
Yeah.
You know, and then just kind of like focusing on that, because like the clientele we really want is that coffee crowd, the people that are going to ask us, hey, what's in your espresso? Hey, what is the drip of the day? And being able to like cater to that clientele and being able to accommodate that clientele versus like 6, high school kids coming in and wanting like an Oreo frap and a chocolate chip frap.
Right,
it's like, yes, we have that too.
I like the accent
we have that too.
For all the
Yes,
like,
we have ice cream.
We do that.
Yeah.
my girlfriend's always like, you have an ice cream shop. I'm like, I do not. I have a coffee shop. But it's like if you don't pay attention to that and you don't cater to both of those people, then you really are not going to like grow in the area. Because really it's just like you have your business, and no matter what business you're in, as long as you're providing more value to your customers than anyone else around you, then you're really going to do good. And you have to find that value and find out what they value more than anything else, and like capitalize on that essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you said innovate. That's what it's about. It's about innovation. So if you just stayed with this in the same niche and you just said, this is what I do, this is who I serve, it's okay to do that if that's what all you want to do. But if you do want to grow, and even coming back to like who you serve and how you're like growing your employee base and you're serving the community, then you innovate. You can't just you sit there in your corner and say, I'm doing my thing. You can, but you don't have to. You could do more for the community, for the people who work for you. And so that's awesome.
No,
I'm all about it.
It's really the secret to growth is like you're constantly innovating and you're constantly marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can innovate all you want, and if you're not like communicating that, then it's just gonna collapse on itself. But you're constantly figuring, okay, more people are calling in. Okay, maybe we should start doing web ordering. Okay, not a lot of people are using web ordering. Maybe we should market web ordering more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And start kind of getting that like going. And essentially like, and then dealing with 54 like people on staff, it's like I really just focused on like their strengths and what they're good at.
Right.
So if some people are really good at the front register or communicating or connecting with customers, then that's awesome. If they're not good at communicating with customers, running the front register, it's like we have baking positions, we have a blender position, we have a prep position, we have a kitchen position that's a little bit more structured, organized, versus some people love like juggling, multitasking, like having a lot of little things going on at once. And then some people are like, oh no, I need structured, I need a list. It's like, sweet. Well, then we have a baking position. We have a prep position. That's kind of like, so that's really felt like that's like some of the success I found, like just trying to like connect with the staff and really treating the staff like way more important and making them feel like they're way more valued than anything else in the business. And kind of getting that like connection to overflow into the customers like experience essentially.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Like hospitality and bonusing people on hospitality, and even bonusing staff on how they make their other employees feel.
Yeah.
Is super important, because everybody gets bonused on their numbers. Like usually your managers will get bonused on numbers, expenses, and things like that.
Right.
But if you got bonused on how you made your employee feel, like if your staff is excited when they see your name on the schedule, when they say, ooh, I'm going to be working with Jonathan on Tuesday. Nice. That is awesome.
That's when we get those NPS scores.
That's when it's like, dude, I'll give Jonathan an extra like $100. Just because of and it's almost like on a baseball team, if you think about it, the amount of time they spend in the dugout of a baseball team is a lot more time than they spend out playing.
Oh yeah, that's a good
So
analogy.
the time they spend in the dugout, if they're like being positive and creating that energy and creating that's so much more valuable than actually like being positive out on the field.
Right. I got you.
So it's like really, really cool just being able. I I heard that on like a business podcast, and it just really stuck with me, like bonusing people on how they make how your staff makes each other of your staff feel,
right,
and how that like family dynamic and the family values really will, like, if you just take care of your staff first, and you take care of your customers second, focusing on your staff first will eventually overflow to
the
it does, for sure. Okay, well, so your staff is CJ's. When people go to CJ's, they get the coffee, but then they also like, how did the customer experience, right? General, from beginning to end.
Right.
Because you can mess up the coffee. Somebody can give them the wrong order, but it's how did you deal with that? And what was the overall experience? Yeah. But then also that low morale, it spreads. So inverse, if you don't take care of that, it spreads so fast. Like one person's negative and has low morale, everybody will. And like before you know, it's like a disease.
One bad apple ruins the bunch.
So that's awesome.
Man.
Yeah.
Again,
props,
man.
And if you guys ever listen to like Marcus Lemonis, familiar with Marcus Lemonis? He does like The Prophet, that TV show.
Okay.
That reality show.
I don't know what it is.
If you ever get a chance to watch The Prophet, Cash Profit, not Profit.
Okay.
Marcus
Lemonis.
Yeah. No. This dude is all about.
Miss Cleo's on there.
Hello, guys. Flip over your card
But
today.
is it like a reality show where they compete to see who can make a business? Or
No. It's a dude who's like he's a self-made millionaire, and he goes into other businesses. And he'll either at the end of the show, in a nutshell, he invests in the business, or he doesn't invest in the business. Yeah. And when he invests in the business, he's like, hey, here's a $300,000 check. I'm going to write off all your loans. I'm going to pay off all your debt. And I'm also going to put another $100,000 into the business to help you like propel forward.
Yeah.
But he really spends his time on focusing on 3 categories. And it's people, product, and procedures. He goes, the people is number 1. He goes, if the person is cool, if you can communicate with that person, if they're coachable, or if they're open to new ideas. He goes, that's and literally the success and failure of any business is the leadership.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's not about lack of resources. It's always about the lack of resourcefulness.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can come up with a bunch of excuses, but if you're not able to pivot, and cold months, wintertime always comes for every business. Wintertime is made to like kill everything, and then springtime is made for the things that survived to bloom and flourish and accelerate. So it's like if you're like a business leader and your business is going down and you're blaming it on like staff and the market and the economy, it's not the lack of resources. It's always the lack of resourcefulness.
Yeah, for sure.
But he always talks about like people is the first thing. The product is the second thing. If the product is great, if the beer tastes fantastic,
Right.
but the business is struggling, then the third thing is procedures. So there's your people, your product, and then your procedures. How are things operating procedurally? Are there
Right.
procedures in place? And then that's where you usually have like your biggest disconnect. The founder, the CEO, has one idea where the business is going, and then when you talk to the staff, you're like, hey, where's the business going? And they're like, we don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
Or it's going in this direction, and the founder is like, hey, it's going in this direction. And then that's how he decides to invest into this companies, like burger places, even like he bought a car dealership. He started off in the car dealership, but then he even does like stuff that's like fashion, and he does stuff that's like home and market. But it's like any business that he goes to, he has these really core beliefs that he just applies to any business. And that's the stuff that I really enjoy, like learning about. Like any business, these rules will apply.
Right.
And then the way he breaks it down and communicates is really fantastic. I really try to like communicate to my staff or communicate to my employees like the way he does. He's really sympathetic. He'll really try to listen, but he really tries to give those soft guidelines and trying to like create like innovation that happens naturally within the company.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be the guy like coming up with the ideas, but he wants to be the guy like supporting the ideas and pushing the innovation forwards, because he understands like if we're not innovating, if we're not growing, we're dying.
Right.
And the same thing with like if your health, you know, if your body's not growing, it's dying essentially. And so it's like, yeah, product, the people, the product, and the process. And
Nice.
he'll like write a check or like leave after those like 3 things.
Man, it sounds like you have the right people, you have the right product, and it sounds like you have the right process. So you guys are doing it right over there.
Man, it's
so-
it's
So
tough.
here's your Dudes and Brews
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
$100,000 check. CJ's
that-
coffee.
That in like
That'd be the best ending ever.
that in like that in like Gallup Strengths Finders is a really good like personality quiz.
Oh yeah, I know Gallup.
Are you familiar with
Yeah, I'm
Gallup?
familiar with
I've
Gallup.
I've used Gallup so much because it's like very clear, very
Yeah.
specific. I've been able to fire people and then hire them for projects.
Oh, okay,
Because
cool.
some people are project based.
Yeah.
Some people can't show up to work on time. But if you give them a 2-week deadline, they'll put in some really good work and they'll put out a really good product.
Yeah.
So I've literally had some people like write my training manuals and write my closing procedures, but I had to let them go. But I'm like, at the end of this week, I'll
Yeah.
pay you $400 if you
Right.
can give me a checklist for the closers, because you've been a closer, but we can't work with you for
you
certain other
can't
reasons.
come in on time,
Like
yeah.
literally, it's like so cool the way I wasn't upset at this person. I just realized it wasn't his strengths.
Right.
It wasn't what he was like enact for doing. And so many people would be like, they're terrible. They just need to find a better work ethic. There's these lazy kids these days.
Yeah.
But it's like, focus on their strengths, focus on what they're good at, and then cultivate that. You know?
All right, so I need to take notes on how to run a business. How to run a business
Yeah.
from Jonathan here. Man, again, I appreciate you coming on the show. I've learned a lot today, not only about coffee, but also what it takes to run a business, it sounds like. Got some definite insight, and I appreciate that. Man, I'm going to have to... I need to refill my growler, so you'll probably see me up there soon to get some more of that cold brew. But again, man, I appreciate you coming on. You have the location in Sherman off Travis, the Denison off Main Street,
The
and
OG.
then the OG
on
off
Main,
Main Street,
514 West Main
and then
Street.
the one there off of it's off 75. It's what's it? Is it on the
We
Boulevard?
call
is
it
what
the
they
Boulevard
The
location.
Boulevard location.
In Sherman?
Yeah.
That's over my neck of the
No,
woods.
honestly, it's really
there's one
interesting.
in Denison. Off
It's
by
technically
the highway.
Denison.
Oh, okay.
Across the highway, like Quick Trip is in Sherman,
Yeah.
and then right across the road is Denison.
that road defines
Yeah.
Denison.
But
Oh,
we
it
call
does?
it.
Oh, I
but
didn't realize that.
We nicknamed them all off the street they're on.
Oh, so it's
So we
CJ's
have
on
Main Boulevard
Okay.
is the one out there, and then Travis Street is
Yeah,
Sherman.
Travis Street.
Travis
Street.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I live not that far from the Travis
Yeah.
Street.
Oh, right on. And it was so cool because it was like my 10th year being into it. I really got to design the Boulevard location. I had full say. I got to design the whole layout,
awesome. Oh,
the
yeah, that
bathrooms,
looks cool.
the bar, the roaster, just like everything in there. The walls. It was just like I literally spent all 2020 like every single day like in that
Your
building.
branding comes like you have the same branding in all three, but you definitely see it come to fruition with that location.
Yeah.
There's not a single thing that looks like it was like it used to be this building, but then you had to fix it up.
Yeah.
It's like it was from scratch.
Yeah.
CJ's.
Yeah, and I love that they're like each of them are like different. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
they each of them feel different, but that one is definitely like coffee education, seeing the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
check
it's like
that one out
it's
on
like
the
you
Boulevard.
got 3 kids. None of them are my favorites, but
one on the Boulevard.
can't say it's my favorite. That's
Man,
awesome.
I appreciate it. Make sure to also check us out. Follow us on Instagram and Untappd
Yeah.
_ Dudes and Brews. But thanks again, man. We're out.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Available, and this stuff is amazing. We've got a few awesome designs. We even have all new pint glasses and stickers. You know you want one of those glasses. I mean, you already drink a beer while watching the show anyway, so you might as well support the show and put your beer in one of our glasses. The link is in the description, so hit that link and pick up something from us today. Make sure that you use the code DUDES10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Again, that's DUDES, D-U-D-E-S, 10, the number 10, 10, at checkout to receive 10% off of your order. We appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Dudes and Brews. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever platform you're on, we're on there. We have a YouTube channel, Dudes and Brews. We would love if you would subscribe there as well. If you are subscribed and you want to help us out just a little more, unsubscribe and resubscribe again. It sounds funny and stupid and kind of obnoxious, all of the subscribing and resubscribing and stuff, but it helps within these little algorithms games for like climbing the charts, because again, we are organic and we are where we are because of you guys.
Yeah, we really do appreciate your support. Shout us out. We really do love it when you guys interact with us, when you add us, mention us, put us on your stories, tag us, all that fun stuff, all the stuff the kids are doing. We like grabbing that stuff and we put it up for you guys. So we appreciate you so much. Keep having fun, drinking them brews, hanging with them dudes. Tune in next week for another episode of Dudes and Brews.